All right, ladies and gentlemen, our last one here is, let's factor 4x squared minus 8x minus 60. Now, one thing you should always look for first, if you notice here, our first term is not 1x squared like I said it has been. However, pause the video for a second, see if you can figure out if we can do something with this polynomial before we actually start factoring it into two binomials. So see if you can figure that out. All right. If you figured out, or even if you did, if you're a little stumped, remember we talked about looking for a greatest common factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor a 4 out of here because I'm looking at a 4, an 8, and a 60. There's not an x in every term, but let's take and divide each of these terms by 4. Okay? And let's put that 4 out in front, just like we did last week. If you take 4x squared divided by 4, you get x squared. If you take negative 8 divided by 4, you get negative 2. And if you take negative 60 divided by 4, you get negative 15. So what we've just done is we factored out that greatest common factor. Now let's take a look at this trinomial here and see if we can break that down. So we may actually be factoring twice here. So again, I'm not going to look at the original polynomial here. I'm done with that. All right. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put a line through it. We're done. We're going to look at this one right here, the x squared minus 2x minus 15. So again, factors of the first term are 1x squared. Well, that's just x and x, okay? And then the factors of the last term, which would be your negative 15. So that means they're going to have to be different signs because you got to have a positive times a negative or a negative times positive to get 15. Let's just look at the numbers themselves first, okay? Start with this. Let's start with 1. 1 times 15. 2 doesn't go into 15. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 4 doesn't go into 15. 5 does, but we've already got 5 times 3, so we're done. There's only 2 sets of factors here. So, which ones are we going to use? Well, and actually, let me put this in green because that's what I've been doing the whole time. Okay? So, what we need to do here, ladies and gents, is we need to figure out what multiplies together to give me negative 15 but adds up to that negative 2. So they need to multiply together to give me a negative 15, different signs, but they got to sum to negative 2. Well, let's take, in other words, they got to subtract out to be 2. Well, I think if we do that, this is the group we're going to look at here. Because if I take 5 minus 3, I get 2. Now, the only thing is I need to get a negative 2. So let's have the 5 be the negative and let's have the 3 be the positive. Because if you take 3 times negative 5, you do get your negative 15. If you take 3 plus a negative 5, you do get your negative 2. So those are our 2 factors right there. So we're going to start with x and x. And then we're going to put a plus 3 and a minus 5. Again, it doesn't matter the order. You could have x minus 5 and x plus 3 just as long as you got an x plus 3 and x minus 5. Now, the only thing is we're going to check this to make sure. Let's see if we get this polynomial right here. Okay? So our check. X times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Well, those middle 2 terms, ladies and gentlemen, do give us that negative 2x that we need right here. Minus 15 and then x squared. Now the only thing is that gives us this, but look right here, we still have this 4 out in front that we factored out. So that needs to be put here, and actually what you've created is, this is our answer, you've created a polynomial with 3 factors. Okay? You've got the 4, you've got the x plus 3 and x minus 5, and I know what some of you are saying. You're saying, okay, so how do I get my original polynomial right here? This 4x squared minus 8x minus 6, because we always want to know how we get that original one we started with. Well, if you take x plus 3 times x minus 5, you get this right here, x squared minus 2x minus 4. If you take 4 times that and distribute that 4 through, you end up with your original polynomial right there. So this right here is our answer. This is the factored form. We've taken our original polynomial, 4x squared minus 8x minus 60, and we've broken it down into its factors, and there are 3 of them. 4, the x plus 3, and x minus 5 are the factors. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you still have questions, you can contact me. You can go back and look over these. If you need to, stop the presentations, go back and review. But to see if you can get a little work, A little practice on this, there is a worksheet online, target 8b factored trinomals of the form x squared plus bx plus c. And then there's also an answer key on there. And I will post again, as I always do, a formative assessment later in the week that you can do and see how your progress is holding up. Also, we'll probably next week send out 3 ACT prep pages to see if you want to do those also, and some more practice problems, okay? All right, if you have any questions, like I said, email, text me, give me a call. Have a good week.